Energy and finance ministers of G7 participated in a meeting in Paris with representatives from global financial institutions. The meeting comes at a time when Brent crude has climbed close to $116 a barrel, raising fresh concerns of inflation and economic instability or stability as a consequence of the war in Iran.
For the first time ever in 51 years, the G7 is gathering together finance ministers, energy ministers and central bankers because we know that what's happening now in the Gulf is having energy consequences, economic consequences, financial market consequences and potential inflation consequences.
Last week, foreign ministers from member states of the Group of Seven participated in a meeting to discuss the consequences of the ongoing war. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was also part of that meeting. The top diplomat stressed last week that U.S. was well within its timeline to achieve war objectives. His statements at the G7 meeting come at a time when many global leaders are worried about the escalating global impact with Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz. Markets are particularly worried about the Strait of Hormuz, where any further disruption could send prices even higher. The surge has already sent shockwaves through global markets, with equities falling and currencies coming under pressure as investors reprice risks. In March this year, oil has recorded one of its biggest monthly rallies on record, rising more than 50% since the conflict erupted in late February. Prices have climbed from around $75 a barrel to $116 a barrel, driven by supply fears, attacks on energy infrastructure and escalating geopolitical tensions. Analysts are warning that prolonged conflict could keep energy markets volatile and push global inflation higher. Our correspondent Ross Cullen has more details on this crucial G7 meetings in Paris.
Well, G7 finance ministers and G7 energy ministers, along with G7 central bank chiefs, held an online meeting on Monday to discuss the latest impacts of the war in Iran, specifically on the G7 economies and the G7 energy supplies and energy markets. In a statement released after the call, the ministers said that they supported appropriate action. They called for uninterrupted and stable trade flows. They do want to see a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and we saw this latest meeting, another chance for G7 leaders at the energy and finance level to come together to try to work out how to best protect their consumers from the economic impacts of the conflict in the Middle East. Ross Cullen, WION, Paris.